Nuance is a very important aspect of life to understand. It makes you see situations less in black and white and more of a gray, where instead of there being a definitive good and bad side, there's multiple perspectives from every angle that are all valid. Seeing nuanced characters in fiction growing up help us understand empathy, and for many of us are the building blocks to understanding intricate situations rather than making every single circumstance seem so simplistic and dumb it down. Morally complex stories are the best. In more recent years, morally great characters have become way more commonplace in mainstream stories. A lot of times these days, when we're presented with an antagonist, we're shown their motivations that provide a more sympathetic view on the character. Although I feel like with morally great characters becoming more commonplace, people try too hard to understand the villain and give them charity they don't necessarily deserve. I feel like people are leaning too hard into the everyone is the hero of their own story thing and trying to give certain characters more depth than they're merited. Now, this is a list of characters that I feel like public perception of them has gone cattywampus. This is purely just my opinion. And just because they're on this list does not mean I think they're a bad character, although some of them are. Now, this list isn't necessarily in order of least to most offensive to me or anything like that. It's more of like the further we go down the list, the more I have to say about that particular character. First on this list is Thanos. MCU Thanos is probably the go-to example that a lot of people try to use when they go into the villain is right argument. And honestly, to me, is some of the most damage the MCU has done to a singular character, in my opinion at least. I'm not gonna go too far into all the reasons Thanos is wrong. There's literally hundreds of videos doing that. But the main point of Thanos' journey in the MCU is to cut the entire population of the universe in half so there's enough resources left for the remaining population, because his planet died due to lack of resources. So Thanos' plan was to take the resource to population ratio from 1:1 to 2:1. Wouldn't he achieve the same thing by doubling the resources? Or once he has the stones, just make every resource infinite. That gets rid of the whole problem too. You don't have to kill everybody. Even if killing half the universe is the answer, won't every population grow again and overpopulation will become an issue once again? To me, he's just looking for an excuse to kill. This one is really more semantics than anything. I just wanted to get it in, and you know, I feel like it's a good way to start off the list. Next on my list is Miguel O'Hara from the Spider-Verse movies. Spider-Verse Jorgen von Strangle over here with his own set of the rules on how to be Spider-Man. Now, this is gonna be a quick one because honestly, he's nowhere near as bad as some of the other characters on this list, but the amount of sympathy I've seen for him online irks me. I've seen so many people go, oh, poor Miguel, he's only like that because he lost his daughter. That is not his daughter, nigga. That's his dead doppelganger's daughter, and he got her killed. And while we're on this point, like, what happened to the Miguel that Spider-Man 2099 replaced? Like, yeah, we saw that he got killed, but what happened to his body? It's not like 2099 could have just left him in that alley, because eventually someone would have found it, and then eventually they would have figured out there's two Miguels in that universe. So the nigga trying to tell everybody how to be Spider-Man saw a man murdered, either buried his body in an unmarked grave or hid it in another dimension, then took that man's daughter. That is the least sounding Spider-Man shit ever. This is another one. It's like, I really want to talk about this character more, and I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt because the third movie has not came out yet. So maybe we'll get more answers there. But as for right now, this is how I feel about this character. Now, next on the list is Trevor from GTA 5. Now, I know a lot of you hear that and like, what are you talking about? Trevor is not morally gray, he's just crazy. And I agree, but a lot of people in the GTA 5 community would disagree. For years now, I've seen a growing sentiment for people that while Trevor is an insane, manipulative, murderous maniac, at least you know where you stand with him. He's honest and would never betray his friend. So that makes him the best GTA 5 protagonist. He's just misunderstood and was betrayed by his friend Michael, so it's not really his fault. I don't even really see Trevor as morally gray. I guess if you're looking at it from the perspective that he's a bad guy with certain redeeming qualities, then I guess he qualifies, barely. But for years now, I've seen so many people express this sentiment. First of all, the whole point that at least Trevor is honest and tells you where you stand with him is such a bad point, because there's like a 95% chance that he would not like you. And he murders most of the people that he does not like. Literally in GTA 5, the people that Trevor hates and he doesn't immediately kill, he either keeps them alive to mess with them or they have a use for him. And him liking you could change at the drop of a dime. For any reason, he could just decide he doesn't like you, and your chances of survival drop significantly. And as for poor Trevor being betrayed by his best friend, if you were in Michael's shoes and had a family to protect, and Trevor as your crazy ass friend, you're gonna risk their safety by potentially setting off a madman. Yeah, let me put me and my family's lives in danger, but at least I was honest to the mass murdering, drug trafficking, torturing, molesting kingpin. Michael knows Trevor better than anyone else in the world, so it's insane to think he didn't know the best way to deal with him in that situation. Trevor even admits Michael did the sensible thing.
So, Mike, I should probably say...
What?
Well, maybe I shouldn't have reacted the way I did. I mean, let's be honest, Brad was a dick and things were getting out of control. You had the kids and you'd already missed so much of their growing up. I could feel like I was losing you, so I pushed you harder. I thought that was how to keep you in the game, and I didn't want to lose you. I've said that already, haven't I? Well, it was gonna blow up, man. We all knew it was, and I guess I'm happy you made it out alive, and with enough money to make sure your kids became total, complete nightmares. Hey.
So yeah, I know everything I said there was kind of a no shit, but you'd be surprised how many people I've seen argue this point. Next is Negan from The Walking Dead. Now this is one that really irks me. And it's not even really the public's fault. I blame the Walking Dead writers because they kept Negan around for so long because Jeffrey Dean Morgan is so likable. And when you're keeping a character like Negan around for the long run, you kind of have to give him some sort of redeeming quality to justify to the audience why he's allowed to hang around the main cast and not just straight out murdered by the people he went to literal war with. Other than Thanos, Negan is probably one of the first antagonists people will point to when bringing up the everyone is the hero of their own story thing. And it's mainly because of this scene.
There were no children at the satellite station. No families.
Then where'd Aaron get Gracie? Think I don't know about that?
You can't debate battle plans with me. Levels of cruelty.
Look, all I'm saying is that I remember when my home was invaded and my people were killed. Those men, they had friends, they had girlfriends, people that felt a loss that I couldn't heal. And I had to explain to them why their leader failed to protect them.
The fact that in the show, Rick's group attacks Negan's group first for the hilltop, and everything that follows is technically retaliation from the Saviors. So no one's really a bad guy in The Walking Dead. If we had been following the story from Negan's perspective from the beginning, Rick's group would be the villain. Yeah, no. First thing that a lot of people, including the writers, seem to forget is that Rick's group did not attack the Saviors first. Earlier in that season, Daryl, Abraham, and Sasha were ambushed by a group of Saviors and were almost killed by them. I hate how people bring up Rick's group attacking that satellite station or whatever it was, like the Saviors would have just left them alone otherwise. That's just wrong. They were always gonna come after Rick's group eventually. They already did. The whole, if we saw it from Negan's perspective, he'd be the hero in our eyes argument has gotten way more momentum than I ever thought I'd see. Because it's dumb as hell. If we saw Rick from the beginning lead a group of people that murder kids, bash people's head in with a baseball bat for no other reason than intimidation, and melt the side of his own men's faces because their ex-girlfriends, who became his sex slave wives, wanted to go back, we'd absolutely think Rick is a bad guy. Oh, but Negan was just so broken after his wife died. Okay, the amount of people that argue this point really worries me. Negan's backstory with his wife does not warrant how wicked he becomes in the apocalypse. That being his villain origin story really makes no sense. That's like a fraction of the suffering that most of the lead characters in the show go through. Rick lost his wife, who had to be put down by their son, and then she was eaten, like bones and all. Not to mention that just about every married person in that show lost their spouse, so there's no excuse. Negan's arc was not a reaction to trauma. If anything, he used that as an excuse to do what he wanted. He was a selfish bastard before the apocalypse who took the opportunity to act on his desires when society collapsed and became a sadistic serial killer and rapist. And the amount of people who actually defend this psycho of a character should show you how certain historical events came to happen. If someone's charismatic enough, they can get away with just about anything. All right, to finish off this list, we got the king of morally gray characters, Severus Snape. The plot twist that Snape was an undercover spy and was working to help defeat Voldemort because he was in love with Harry's mom was generational. But this has led to some of the biggest misrepresentation of characters I have ever seen. This is a big argument even to this day in the Harry Potter community. I mean, you could probably look on Reddit right now, you'll probably find at least 3 arguments about Snape's character today. I have been having arguments about Snape's character since I was like 10 years old. And I want to preface this by saying, I like this character. But so many people seem to think that Snape actually had a secret heart of gold. He was mean, but it's only because the love of his life was murdered brutally. I guess some of that is technically true, but Snape definitely gets more credit than I feel he deserves. Let's make this clear. Snape did not care about Voldemort taking over the world. Quite literally, the only reason he turns on Voldemort is because he loved Lily. Not for any more reasons, purely selfish. And even when he realizes that Voldemort is going to kill the Potters, he only asked Voldemort to spare Lily. He could not have cared less about the innocent man and child that he condemned to death. And yes, Snape is the reason the Potters died, because he's the one that told Voldemort about the prophecy. Had Voldemort decided to kill another family like the Longbottoms, he would not have said or done a damn thing about it. Oh, he didn't care about James because he hated James. But what about the innocent child he caused to be targeted? Also, in the same vein that people think Snape is just objectively a good person, they see James as the worst person in the Harry Potter universe. Now, I blame the movies for this because in Snape's memory, we see James bullying Snape. And that's like a 30-second scene, but that 30-second scene has done irreparable damage to people's perception of Snape and James' characters. It was supposed to be a rivalry more akin to Harry and Draco than a straight bully to victim dynamic. Most people see Snape and James as your classic nerdy quiet kid to school jock scenario. That might be the building blocks of their dynamic, but it's not so simple. If Snape was such a great guy and James was nothing but a bully, then why did just about everyone else who knew James like him? You could not say James Potter was a bad guy without also saying Sirius, Lupin, and Lily were also bad people because they hung around him. And why does virtually no one else like Snape? Because it was not a pure bully to victim relationship. They simply hated each other, and that doesn't make either one of them a hero or a villain. And if James was so bad, then why would Harry's mom marry him and have a child with him? Was it an arranged marriage or something? I don't know why, but a good amount of people seem to think because Snape loved Lily, that means it was like a mutual love, but that's just not true. Lily literally cut Snape off because he was ready to become like a wizard Nazi and become one of the top lieutenants for the guy that preached that Muggleborns, which Lily was, should be eradicated. They were friends when they were younger, but as they got older, Lily saw him for what he really was. They grew apart, and Snape's feelings for her turned into an obsession because he was a creepy bastard. Yes, what he did was a net positive for the world as a whole, but it was not for noble reasons. But to reiterate, that does not make him a bad character. So yeah, I just want to do this video real quick. So yeah, that's my list. Hope you guys enjoyed. I've been thinking about doing more videos like this for a while. And I got my green screen, so I figured it was the best time to do it. If there's any characters you feel like should have made this list, let me know in the comments. And let me know if you'd like to see more videos like this. And have a discussion, you know what I'm saying? Just don't get too rambunctious in the comments, bro. It's just fiction stories, bro. We can talk about it. I've seen it get real nasty, so let's not have that here. Appreciate you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'm trying to do more stuff, trying to do different stuff. I like doing the gaming stuff, but I also have a lot of opinions and stuff I'm trying to get out there. And I feel like this is a cool way to do it. So yeah, thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe for more. There will be more on the way. So peace.
If I had stolen home, I'd have been the hero. Instead, I'm the